Can the FAA re-examine your airman certificate? Well, actually, they can. If you've ever been in the FBO and you've heard flight instructors jokingly say the FAA is going to 709 your certificate, what they're referring to is US Code 44709, which grants the administrator the authority to re-examine any airman certificate with reasonable basis when a lack of competency is shown. Reexaminations are not a real common thing, but they do happen. Usually they're associated with an accident or an incident when the root cause has shown to be a lack of competency, which contributed to that accident or incident. And the FAA needs to re-examine you with a check ride to ensure that you are competent and able to hold that airman certificate. Additionally, you may see a re-examination associated with poor performance of a designated pilot examiner. When the FAA is out doing surveillance, if they find that the DPE wasn't performing to standards, they may send out a list of associated airmen that have recently taken check rides with that examiner and require them to submit to a re-examination because they had reason to question why or how the examiner was issuing airman certificates. Now, re-examinations are not a punishment, and the FAA does not take them lightly. The FAA is not going to show up on the ramp and say, hey, you have to submit to a 709 re-examination. It doesn't work that way. It's a formal process, and they're going to notify you, usually in letter form, and they're going to give a reasonable basis, and they're going to write in there why they have reason to question your competency. They're also going to put in there the tasks that you have to do. A re-examination isn't always necessarily a full-on check ride. It could just be takeoffs and landings associated with an accident. As long as you satisfactorily pass a re-examination, that's it. There's no certificate action. There's nothing that goes on your airman certificate. You've proven yourself worthy of holding that airman certificate. If it's unsatisfactory, generally the FAA will allow you some training and encourage you to get training and then do another submission of a re-examination. What they're not going to do is continue to give you rope so that you can go on and get more training and come back and do more examinations. Usually what happens is at some point, if the failures continue on a re-examination, the FAA has to push for a legal emergency enforcement action to revoke your airman certificate unless you voluntarily surrender it or voluntarily downgrade if you're in a position to downgrade. Now, again, usually incidents and accidents a lot of times will be solved through the FAA's compliance philosophy and compliance